What's up, guys? It's John here, National Sports Entertainment. And if you can bear with me, I'm doing this old school because for some reason, like I said, when I'm trying to do my screen recorder, it's not picking up the sound or it's just cutting off halfway through. And I wanted to get this video out not like 5 minutes before the games. Even though you can always live bet, I wanted to get the last video out a little sooner, obviously. But I did not expect this to not work. So right now we have, you can see this one canceled. It's the Saints +3, and I had a very good feeling this was going to be a field goal game. I thought it might have gone our way, but either way, I did not see it not being a field goal game. If you look back to my analyst slips up video, the guy basically gave away the script and said how it was going to be a dogfight. And most people got the 3.5, which means they were able to win this game outright. But like I said, we did get our money back on this one, and we were not able to win Washington or Houston. So for pending, as you can see, we went ahead and we doubled up on New England +9.5. That game seemed like a trap. There's no reason that they should have been getting 9.5 when the Bears got 10. They should have been getting closer to 14. And above that, you see we took Las Vegas on our sequence that we got back from the Saints. Because we're not doubling the Saints up, we didn't lose that one, we just got it back. And some people won that one. Now, before I go into my pick for tonight, and we'll go into where we're at, like I said, right now our balance, after these 2 4 o'clock games pay out, which I believe they're both going to, we're going to be closer to about 430, maybe even 450. So with the outstanding wagers, we're currently at 334. And like I said, we plan on being over 500s by the end of the day. But if I want you to listen to this real quick and tell me if, and this is the reason I picked the Saints +3. And again, this is the reason I advised people that they were going to cover the spread.
To see this game. Minnesota -2.5 against New Orleans in London. Demonze, if you remember, when you and I were guessing the lines on Sunday, and you told me I guessed this line, and I think I said, because you said to me Minnesota at New Orleans, and I said I'd probably Minnesota by about 3. You said, yeah, 2.5. And then we realized the game was in London. I don't understand how Minnesota is less than a field goal favorite on a neutral site against a New Orleans team.
That sucks.
That stinks. Jameis Winston, as of today, is yet to practice this week. We'll see, we don't have the latest injury report for Thursday, but didn't practice on Wednesday. Dennis Allen consistently has shown throughout his career he's not an NFL head coach. The skill position guys for the Saints are banged up. Minnesota, on the other hand, we know Kirk Cousins stinks at night. Well, now he gets to play at 6 in the morning. Well, it's not really 6 in the morning, but it's in London. We understand. I think Minnesota's a good team. I have no evidence whatsoever that New Orleans is a good team. New Orleans beat Atlanta by the skin of their teeth in week 1, needed a 16-point fourth quarter comeback. They then got bullied by Tampa and lost, I would say, convincingly to Carolina, a game that at one point was 22-7 against Carolina, which is not proven to be good.
No.
I think Minnesota is a good team. I think New Orleans is not a good team. I'm laying less than a field goal. I really like this game. Minnesota -2.5 against New Orleans in London. That's pick 1. I almost made it our lock of the week. I didn't quite do that, to be totally honest, because this isn't really sound logically, but it's the 9 a.m. start time or whatever it is. I don't want to rip.
Okay, so you heard Nick right there just go on and on to say how the Vikings covering that field goal was essentially inevitable. And when I see analysts say things like that, it does make me skeptical. Now, they did barely cover the field goal, but as you saw at the beginning of the video, we drew by taking the +3. It was 2.5 for the Saints for a little bit. It moved to 3.5, and I think that's why at the end Nick even says I'm laying a field goal, because people think that half a point doesn't make a difference, but it does. So there's a lot of people, I bet you, that picked parlays and they got busted up because they picked the Vikings -3, thinking there's no way, or -3.5, and they lost the parlay because they thought there's no way that the Saints cover 3-point spread. So Nick is referring to 2.5 points, which is fine. And then again, in his case, he might have gotten at 2.5. Most people, I got in at 3, so I drew. But my point is, when I hear things like that, they know that people are going to be picking these games. So everyone's not going to be a trap. But when you have a bunch of games, like for example, we have the Patriots here at Green Bay. And if you watch my last video, you'll see why I went with the Patriots. It was pretty clear to me that when the Bears, who are a division rival, are getting only 10 points versus not only 10 points. When you have the Bears getting 10 points versus New England only getting 9.5, that's very revealing. A lot of people that bet on that Bears game are going to see that and say in a second, oh, well, the Packers covered the Bears, they're going to cover this. So that's why I felt confident with that one. Same with Vegas. That's why I felt confident doubling up with Vegas. So we doubled up our Washington Commanders loss. We bet on the Vegas, and they're looking like they're going to win. And why did I like Vegas? Again, they're giving up 2.5 points against Russell Wilson. They want to try and force this narrative that Russell Wilson is struggling, and they're doing a good job of forcing that narrative. But even with the narrative, you can kind of see where they're going with it. He's taking sacks. He's not playing like himself. And when you see a spread, again, like this, many people probably took the Broncos on the money line, and that's what bust up their parlay. You can just look at these games. Cleveland was a 1-point favorite. They lost by 4-3. If you look at Buffalo, again, Buffalo was a 3.5-point favorite. So over a half point, somebody could have lost a big parlay. And that's what I try and explain with these picks. We are not going to get them all right, which is why I don't advise doing multi-way parlays. I do my system, which has been proven to work. And again, I can't show the chart, but what I can do is pull up my email, because I did send it to my email. And again, I show this in almost every video, just basically how this system works. And I know a lot of people still want to play money lines instead of spreads, or they want to bet a bunch of games. But as you can see, here's our sequences from the beginning of when we started. And we have this one, we closed out on the third leg, obviously. That was the first one. Some we're going to close out right away. Others are going to take longer. But if we get up to recent, we drew the New Orleans game. We did lose Houston, which is why we doubled up with New England. Looking like that one's going to win. Then we won some college games. Right here we lost the Commanders, but we doubled up at Las Vegas. And again, you can just see a lot will win on the first go, but some, like this one here, sequence 16, we're going to have to double up with, which is going to be my pick tonight. We get the Clemson one, and every other one we've closed out. So as you can see with the system, that's why I recommend this system. We don't have to go 90%. It's nice when we do. We've done great since we've started. You know, I believe we're something like 14-5, 14-6, maybe 15-6 after these games go final. But again, that's why I do talk more about the system, because the system is what's important. We take advantage of odds, teams that have not won against the spread, teams that have won against the spread, traps like Nick Wright's alluding to, and other things like that. So as for tonight's game, I look at both sides, and I do like the Chiefs. And again, we have doubled up on Vegas and on the Packers for the Houston and for the Washington loss. And New Orleans, we got that money back. So for this one, we don't need to double up. If or should one of the 4 o'clock games that we picked not go through, say the Packers are to get 10 sudden points, or the Broncos are to get 14 sudden points or something, which I doubt happens, but you never know, then of course this Chiefs game would be a double up. But for now, we're just doing a straight bet. And I know it's hard to see, so I'm gonna zoom in. We're just trying to win 25. And there it is, 25, Kansas City. We're just taking the money line that they win the game, because it's only a point. If you want, you can buy some points, but you don't, you know, I just like to try and keep it pretty. When it's this close, I like to keep it just as is. So we're gonna place this bet. We're gonna confirm it. We're gonna close that out. And then we're gonna see what bets we have pending. So we go to accounts. And again, I'm sorry I'm doing it this way. It's the only way I can show you guys in live time, because my screen recorder is not working. So I just wanted to show you guys exactly what's going on. We're gonna let that load. And pending wagers. And you can see now we have 3 outstanding wagers. We have the Kansas City game. I know it's a little blurry. We have, there we go, Patriots plus 9.5. We have Las Vegas plus 2.5. And we just placed a new one on Kansas City straight up to win that game. So like I said, again with this system, you don't have to use my exact system. But the reason I use it is because I know Vegas likes to put games like this in here. Games like New England plus 9.5, earlier, New Orleans. They're not all going to go that way, like Washington. Washington was just a straight up, they lost. So, I mean, there are some where they're not going to be parlay busters. But when Vegas knows a bunch of people are going to add, most likely, New England minus 9.5, taking Green Bay minus 9.5 to that parlay, or they're going to have Minnesota plus 3 in that parlay, there's a very, very good chance that game is going to be the one that messes their parlay up. Same with this Vegas game. I bet a lot of people took the Broncos here. So anyway, I don't want to make it too long-winded, but I felt bad because I like to show everything live, and I was not able to in my last video. I had 2 options: get the video out late, like after the game started, or get it out at least before the game started and get out a shitty video. So I know I had to choose to do a shitty video, but I did want people that are following along to at least be able to see who I had picked and get in on that pick. So I'm going to be getting a new app for screen recorder where we'll be able to do this a lot better in the future. Luckily, this didn't happen to us like Saturday when we were doing a bunch of bets, but you know, I just don't know why it happened. But yeah, so I wanted you guys to see where we stand. I always like to show my live tabulations, my picks, the ones we lost. Again, we didn't do good at 1 o'clock, but came right back at 4. So again, if I say patience and just, you know, understanding the odds with this system, and you see we're at 312 with 3 outstanding wagers, 2 of which are most likely going to hit, we're going to be almost tripled up by the end of tonight. So, and it's been about 12-13 days. So just stick with the system. Happy earnings, and you guys take care.